It's a CEO Jimbo show starring me, James Powers, CEO Jimbo. Hope you can hear this, everybody. It's welcome to the CEO Jimbo show. It's late. It just turned midnight here, and I'm finally getting around to filming this. I'm going to try to keep it short. I always say that. I'm intending about 8 minutes. We'll see how this goes. They've been 20 minutes, and I've had trouble with having to rotate them or try to rotate them, not being able to do that. I think the shorter it is, the more likely I'll be able to rotate if I have to rotate. Anyway, we're back to kind of about where we left off last time. Last time I was showing you this map here about the witnesses and trying to kind of plot the route of Malaysian Airlines flight 370 as per like what the witnesses said. The flight took off from Kuala Lumpur heading to Beijing, China. This is the route it was to take up to Igari intersection and then kind of off Ho Chi Minh City, I guess, and off to Beijing and so forth. And so there was radio contact where the departure frequency, there was contact right up till about Igari, and then there was a changeover where they were to kind of leave Malaysian Kuala Lumpur departure and go on to Ho Chi Minh City Center or something like that. And they never checked in with Ho Chi Minh City. Anyway, the first witness was, as far as I can guess, is like this, these fishermen. There was a man fishing in his boat with a friend and reported that just right about the same time it went missing, just after midnight, he was out about that time and saw it low down, saying that the lights of the plane looked like coconuts. They were so big compared to what they normally are, and so on. And the second witness must have been the oil rig, because this person reported it a bit later, but still at night, like maybe several hours later, but still at night, high up, but not quite as high as normal, and on fire, and sort of heading either towards or away and so forth. And then the fire went out. And then this lady in the boat, wherever she saw it, said that she saw it on fire. And what I'm reading is that that was at night also, because there were two other airplanes that she saw in the same vicinity. She saw that, that they had nav lights on, and she reported that there was like two orange lights on the MH370, and kind of analyzed, I guess, after she saw it, that was fire on the aircraft. And then there were people that saw it low down here in the Maldives, right around sunrise, hours after the flight went missing up here. This was like almost just after midnight, and so like it's sunrise, that same local time, 6:15. People were seeing it low here and so on. And then there was a guy in a boat with several other people that reported that he and the people on the boat saw it either land or crash or just get really low in the water out in the distance. And the waves were choppy, and they didn't have enough fuel to kind of get out there, both because of the fuel situation and because of the wave situation. And so they just went on their 7-day trip. I think they were the 7-day trip people and so on. And then there was this lady that was coming back from Saudi Arabia and said just past Chennai, she saw what she thought was an aircraft down on the water, the wings and the tail. maybe that was like in this area, and so on. So those are kind of the witnesses. I've since learned, since last video, that there seems to be two boats here that saw it and reported it, because one said that they, I think they reported it after their 7-day trip, but like right in that same time window and so forth. And then there's kind of a new story that I'm learning of somebody that has reported like 5 years later, finally came around to reporting that they saw it from their fishing boat, and they had a GPS and so on, and they have exact coordinates. But that doesn't make exact sense, because if they had exact coordinates, seems like they should have stories about, like Titanic stories, like being right there with the, with the airplane and, looking in the windows and that kind of thing. And they don't seem to have that kind of, or wreckage on the water, or, whatever. Maybe they got bubbles or something like that and reported where the bubbles were. That's not clear. So discrepancies and anomalies is kind of where I'm at, and so on. So there's a lot of discrepancies. There's discrepancies as to what, did one boat in this area see the report, or two? And I'm trying to sort that out. I think somewhere. I wrote the names down. I don't remember. I think that was on this side here. It's one of the fishermen was Hendra that gave the report, I think, and there was this Cusley or Risley Kuzmin and so forth. And I think the Risley, I think, was the one that reported it like right after he got back from his 7-day trip and didn't have GPS, but just had kind of the visual report. And I think this was the one that had the GPS report that gave 5 years later. He finally came around to saying that he saw the aircraft, and won't disclose exactly why he waited 5 years. So anyway, that's kind of a discrepancy in there as to whether there's two people that have reported the aircraft landing or crashing in the water right here, or one. Let's see, and I'm not just on the witnesses anymore, on the discrepancies and so on. There's a discrepancy about like passengers. Everybody's kind of pointing the finger. Some people are of the captain, and there's there's kind of some things that are happening, with the people on board the aircraft. There was like somebody that was going to do mining in Mongolia and so forth. And there's sort of a discrepancy about the ring. The guy was like leaving to go away, and the wife of the gentleman stated in a video that he kind of presented his wedding ring and his watch to her to kind of watch over it, and if something happens on the flight or the trip, or he doesn't come back or something like that, then he trusted her to do something with the ring and the watch. And then I watch another video that leaves her out and just talks about this guy going off to Mongolia to mine, and said he accidentally left his watch and his ring behind, which is a totally different story. So that is kind of interesting. On slightly different subject to that is also lists. I'm compiling like lists of different things, and there's like two on the Mongolia list. There's that guy that I just talked about that was going to mine there, and there was people talking about the possibility before any wreckage was found. There was sort of people throwing the idea around that maybe the airplane's in a hangar in Mongolia and so forth. So what's all this Mongolia talk? So anyway, and it goes on and on. where I'm going with this is I'm trying to do two things at the same time. One, I'm trying to kind of come up with evidence to prove that the aircraft actually did this. It actually went from here to Igari, and then it got really low, and this guy saw it here, and then it got climbed back up, and this oil rig person saw it, and then it went out over here, and this lady in the boat saw it on fire high up, and then it got down low and kind of buzzed these people in the Maldives here, and then it came over here, and it crashed or landed on the water here, and this lady came over and saw it on the water, and then it sunk, and it's like in this area somewhere. That I'm trying to like prove that, and I'm also trying to disprove that that there's even a military radar that exists. People are saying that this came up here, and then some mysterious some military radar has it going from here to here to here to a spot, and I'm not sure that there actually is one, because there seems to be a little bit of evidence that there was sort of like a talk for about a week after the disappearance of they were searching for the plane out in this area, and then on TV the officials kind of said, well, there's this military radar and we have picked it up and we have reason to believe that it's kind of in the Indian Ocean, or whatever the sea is, the Andaman Sea area or something like that. And I'm just wondering if, maybe they've just, that it's actually the witness reports that have the airplane coming over here, and they said that it was special military radar. There is some sort of military radar here, but I've read that they almost have it like turned off on like Saturdays, and this happened on a Saturday or something like that. There's a little evidence of that, so I'm looking into that. Then finally, there's a part. I've been kind of like working on the parts a little bit and talked about those a little bit. And there's a particular part that I'm very interested in, and I'm working towards getting back to it to see if I can find literature about it. It's a part that's on the interior of the aircraft. I believe it's like a bench seat, or like something that folds down, like just in the L1 door area of the aircraft. Not so much of a flight attendant seat, but I think it's like a table that is hinged to the bulkhead and comes down. And I think there's evidence that there's that item that has been found, and somehow it's been unhinged. And what I don't know is whether it was hooked to a bulkhead or whether it was just hooked to something that was sort of like just flimsy or something like that. But it almost gives evidence that there might have been people inside of the aircraft trying to use that as a tool in flight. Like the flight, there was a 747 that was trying to land in the islands off of Africa, Metateus Island or something like that. And they opened the door on that flight to try to get the smoke out of the cockpit. And then they found that was making it worse, and they were trying to close the door and so on. But I wonder about that. And then I also wonder about if they landed on the water and the door was jammed or something like that. They may have broken that thing off and used that as a battering ram to try to get themselves out of the plane or something like that. And somehow it floated and came up in the whatever those islands are down in Africa. I don't have those maps out and so on. But anyway, I forgot to mention this part. This one is basically the oil rig worker basically said that somebody over here gave the course, and this was like the course. I was trying to figure it out. I think it's the oil rig worker, high altitude burning. Yeah, this is oil rig guy here, and he basically said that it was kind of on a magnetic course of 265 to 275, and that it was like perpendicular to the regular course of the aircraft. So this is kind of a roughly about where the regular flight pattern of MH370 going up to that intersection. And he said it was like crossing that path at like 90 degrees. So I was trying to kind of figure out basically what that looked like. And as the aircraft kind of went from, this C here, the 15 minutes already, to this C and so on. So we'll have to leave it at that. This computer, this is my tablet, and I have more memory on it. So if it does that rotation thing, I should be able to rotate it. The drawback is that that's Monday night, and I usually post these on Tuesday, and due to having to find a Wi-Fi place for this to send it, you may not see it till Thursday or something like that if tomorrow's like really nasty weather or something like that. Anyway, please give a thumbs up and like and subscribe and all that, and so on. I made this new closing out thing too. This has been the CEO Jimbo Show starring James Power, CEO Jimbo. Thank you for watching. So there you have it. Thank you for watching. I'm not really a real genuine CEO. I was a small business owner and kind of working towards that way, and I really don't know where I'm going at this point. But anyway, hope you like this. Be well and have a good day. So long. Bye. I was trying to turn this one off. This doesn't have a button on the screen there. I have to turn like the off system button here. So long.